The Apache widow begged for gentleness. He hesitated, then did the unthinkable. The bullet was still warm in the dirt when Cole Danner rode in. He did not slow his horse at the edge of the Navarro settlement. He did not call out or announce himself the way men with clean consciences tend to do. He rode straight through the gate with his hat pulled low and his rifle across his lap. And the first thing he saw was the woman kneeling in the dust beside a body that no longer had any use for breathing. She did not look up. Cole stopped the horse 10 feet from her. The animal snorted and stamped. The woman stayed still, her hands pressed flat against the dead man's chest, like she was trying to push something back inside him that had already left for good. The man on the ground was Apache, broad-shouldered and dressed in a mix of buckskin and worn cotton. There was a hole in him that told the whole story without needing a single word. Cole swung down from the saddle. The settlement was quiet in the wrong kind of way. 3 or 4 adobe buildings, a water trough, a small pen with 2 mules that stood statue still. No children running, no dogs barking. The kind of quiet that follows something ugly and has not yet figured out what comes next. He crouched down a few feet from the woman. She was young, maybe 25. Apache, with dark hair loose around her shoulders and a face that had been crying long enough to go dry. She wore a blue calico dress that was too big for her, the kind that gets handed down or traded for. There was blood on the hem. Cole said nothing for a moment. Then he said, "Who did this?" She did not answer right away. Her hands pressed harder against the dead man's chest. "Lena," said a voice behind Cole. He turned without standing. An old man stood in the doorway of the nearest building, white-haired, with the slow posture of someone who had survived too many things to be startled by one more. He had a clay pipe in one hand and a look on his face like a man reading weather. "Her name is Lena," the old man said. "Her husband was Dio. They rode in 3 days ago from the eastern flats. She said they were looking for her sister." Cole looked back at the woman. Lena. She had not moved. "And Dio?" Cole said. "3 men came at dawn," the old man said. They did not ask questions. They did not say what they wanted. One of them had a badge, the other 2 had guns. Aunt Dio stepped out to meet them and they shot him before he reached the gate. Cole stood up slowly. His knees cracked the way they always did now, a sound he had started to consider his body's editorial on his life choices. "A badge," Cole said. "A deputy's badge," the old man said. "Out of Harlan County." Cole knew Harlan County. He knew it the way a man knows a bad tooth, not fondly, and not from a distance. He looked down at Lena again. She had stopped pressing on Dio's chest. Her hands were folded in her lap now. She was looking at Cole for the first time, and her eyes were the kind that have already decided whether a person is worth speaking to before that person opens their mouth. "You ride after them," she said. It was not a question. Cole pulled his hat back an inch. "Now that depends." "On what?" "On whether what I find when I catch them is worth what it costs to catch them." Lena stood up. She was taller than he expected. She looked at him the way women look at men who are already making excuses before the job has even started. "My husband is dead," she said. "He was not a criminal. He was not armed when they shot him. He was walking toward them with his hands open." Cole looked at Dio on the ground. The man's hands were open. That detail had registered when he first crouched down, and it had been sitting in the back of his skull ever since. "There was a woman with them," the old man said from the doorway. "She stayed on her horse, red-haired. She wore riding clothes, not a dress. She watched the whole thing and did not say a word." Cole turned to look at him. A woman with a deputy and 2 guns. Yes. And none of you know what they were after. They did not say, the old man said. They took nothing. They left Dio in the dirt and rode north. Cole picked up his hat fully, ran a hand through his hair, and put it back. He looked north. The land out there was flat and pale and went on forever in the way that makes a man feel small if he lets it. Lena was still watching him. I will need water and a fresh horse if yours runs, he said. Mine has been going since before sunrise. Lena looked at him for 3 more seconds. Then she walked toward the pen without a word. Cole watched her go. The old man came out of the doorway and stood beside him. She is going with you, the old man said. Cole looked at him. The hell she is. She does not need your permission, the old man said. Austin tapped his pipe against his palm like a judge tapping a gavel. She told me this morning before she even knew you existed. She said she would follow whoever went, and if nobody went, she would go alone. Cole looked back at Lena. She had caught one of the mules and was already pulling a saddle from the fence rail with the efficiency of someone who had made up their mind a long time ago. He exhaled through his nose. What is north of here? He said. The old man said one word. Harlan. Cole's jaw tightened. 3 men, a badge, a woman on a horse who watched a man get shot in the open hands and said nothing. He walked toward his horse and checked the rifle. Behind him, Dio lay in the morning dust, hands still open, going nowhere. The mule beside Lena stamped once, impatient. Cole mounted up. Lena was already riding. None of the road north from the Navarro's settlement was not really a road. It was a suggestion. 2 ruts in the hardpan pressed there over years by wagons that had passed through with varying degrees of hope, and left with varying degrees of it still intact. The scrub brush grew right to the edge. The sky above was the specific shade of white that means heat before noon. Cole rode ahead by half a length. Lena did not try to close the gap, and he did not invite her to. They had been riding 2 hours before she spoke. You know Harlan County, she said. It was not a question, the same way the other thing had not been a question. Cole was starting to understand that Lena did not traffic in questions when she already had the answer. I spent time there, Cole said. Bad time or useful time? Both, he said, and depending on how you measure it. She let that sit. Another mile passed. A hawk cut across the sky ahead of them, indifferent and enormous, and then was gone. What is your name? Lena asked. Cole Danner. Are you a lawman, Cole Danner? Not anymore. Then what are you? He thought about that for longer than the question probably warranted. The hooves hit the dry ground in a steady rhythm that helped him think, or at least gave him something to count while he avoided thinking. I ride where the work is, he said finally. That is not an answer. No, he agreed. It is not. Lena pulled her mule even with his horse. She looked at the side of his face the way people look at a lock they are trying to figure out. Dio came through Harlan County 4 months ago, she said. He was looking for my sister then too. Someone there told him she had gone further east. He believed them. I think now they were lying. Cole turned his head slightly. Your sister, what is her name? Nara. And why would anyone in Harlan lie about where she went? Lena's jaw moved. Not quite a grimace. The specific expression of someone who has been carrying a stone in their chest for a long time and has stopped noticing the weight except when someone pokes at it. Because Nara does not go anywhere on her own, Lena said. She was taken. Cole pulled his horse to a slow walk. Lena kept pace. Taken, he said. 3 winters ago. She was 16. Men came through our camp on the eastern flats. They said they were buying horses. They left with Nara. Cole looked straight ahead. The horizon shimmered. And nobody went after her then? He said. My father did, Lena said. He did not come back. He said nothing to that. There was nothing to say that would make it smaller or larger than it already was. And the only thing worse than silence in a moment like that is filling it badly. They rode on. The first sign of Harlan showed up in the form of a fence that had no business being that far out from town. New posts, tight wire, the kind of fencing that costs money and sends a message. Cole noted it and said nothing. Lena noted that he noted it. Whose land? She said. Man named Greer Hollis, Cole said. He was running cattle when I was last through here, but this wire is new. How new? 8 months, maybe a year. The posts have not weathered enough for longer. Lena looked at the fence as they passed it. A man who buys new wire is a man who is protecting something new. Cole glanced at her. She was right. He did not say so, but his expression did it for him. They reached the outskirts of Harlan around midday. The town was larger than Cole remembered, and not in a good way. 2 new buildings on the main street, both with fresh-cut lumber that still had sap in it. A livery that had been expanded. More horses tied out front of the saloon than a midweek morning had any right to collect. Money had come to Harlan. New money moves fast and does not care what it runs over. Cole rode through the main street without stopping. Lena matched him. People on the boardwalk looked at them and then looked away, which told him more than if they had stared. People only look away that fast when someone has told them to. At the far end of the street, there was a sheriff's office with a new sign above the door. The sign read, Harlan County Sheriff, in clean black paint. Beside the door, sitting in a chair tipped back on 2 legs, was a man with a deputy's badge on his vest and boots that were too clean for someone who had ridden hard at dawn. Cole stopped. The deputy looked up from under the brim of his hat. Young. 20 maybe. The kind of young that has been handed authority before it has earned it, which makes it twice as dangerous as the kind that has earned it. Help you? The deputy said. Looking for the sheriff, Cole said. He is busy. I will wait. The deputy brought his chair down on all 4 legs. He looked at Lena. His face did something that Cole filed away for later. She cannot tie up in front of this office, the deputy said. Cole looked at the hitching post. 2 horses already tied there, both with county brands. Seems like there is room, Cole said. Not for her kind, the deputy said. The words landed in the dust between them. Lena's hand stayed loose on the reins. She had heard this before. She had heard it enough times that her body did not react to it, which was its own kind of wound, the kind that has been there so long the person has arranged their life around it. Cole looked at the deputy for a long moment, the kind of look that takes inventory. What is your name? Cole said. Deputy Cal Wren. Wren, Cole said. He said it slow, like he was tasting something and deciding whether to spit. Were you riding at dawn this morning, deputy? The deputy's chair legs touched the ground. Who is asking? Wren said. Of a man who was at the Navarro settlement at sunrise, Cole said, and saw what was left there. The deputy's hand moved toward his side out of instinct and then stopped. A man who stops his own instinct is a man who knows he is already guilty of something. You got business in this town. You state it to the sheriff, Wren said. Otherwise, ride through. Cole held the deputy's eyes for 3 more seconds. Then he dismounted, tied his horse to the post, and walked to the office door. Behind him, Lena dismounted and tied the mule. Wren watched her do it and did nothing. Inside, the office smelled like old coffee and ambition. A man sat behind a desk, that was too large for the room. Mid-50s, thick through the shoulders, with the comfortable look of someone who has not been questioned in a long time. His badge was bigger than Wren's. So was the gun on his hip. He looked up when Cole walked in. "Sheriff," Cole said. "And you are?" the man said. "Cole Danner. I was at the Navarro settlement this morning when a man named Dio was shot dead by 3 riders. One of them was wearing a Harlan County deputy badge." The sheriff leaned back in his chair. He laced his fingers together across his chest and looked at Cole the way a man looks at a fly that has landed on his lunch. "Dio," the sheriff said. "Do not know that name." "You did not ask who he was," Cole said. "You went straight to whether you knew the name." The sheriff's eyes sharpened. "And the woman outside," Cole said. "She is Dio's widow. She is Apache. No, she is unarmed and grieving, and she will not be harassed in front of your office or anywhere else in this town while I am standing upright." The sheriff was quiet. Lena appeared in the doorway behind Cole. She had not been told to wait outside. She had not needed to be told not to. The sheriff looked at her. Something moved behind his eyes. "Quick, gone." "Sit down, Mr. Danner," the sheriff said. "I think we have things to discuss." Cole did not sit. He stood in the middle of the room, between Lena and whatever was sitting behind that desk, wearing a badge and a comfortable expression. And he waited to find out which direction the next lie would come from. The sheriff's name was Burl Cord. Cole knew the name from before, the same way he knew a handful of names from his time through this part of the territory. And Cord had been a deputy himself once, under a different sheriff in a different county. And there had been stories. The kind of stories that travel slow because the people who could tell them best end up not in a position to talk. Cord poured 2 cups of coffee from the pot on the stove. He did not offer one to Lena. Cole noticed, so did she. "What brings a man like you through Harlan?" Cord said, setting a cup in front of the empty chair across from his desk. Cole left the cup where it was. "I told you why I am here." "You told me about a shooting," Cord said. "A settlement a full morning's ride from here. You have no witnesses, no evidence. And you are riding with an Apache woman who has reason enough to point a finger at anybody she pleases," Lena said, from the doorway. There were 4 people at that settlement who saw what happened. Cord looked at her. "Apache witnesses," he said. "A judge in this territory will weigh that accordingly." "The old man is not Apache," Lena said. "His name is Emilio. He has lived at that settlement for 30 years. He watched your deputy shoot my husband in the open ground." Cord set his coffee down. He looked at Cole. "You vouch for what she is saying?" Cord said. "I got there after the fact," Cole said. "Dio was already down, but I saw the tracks. 3 horses, rode in hard from the north, left going north. Your deputy outside has boots that do not match a man who has been sitting in a chair all morning." Cord leaned back. The chair creaked under him. "Wren rode out on county business at first light," Cord said. "I sent him myself. He was checking on a report of stolen cattle near the Navarro stretch." "And the 2 men with him?" Cole said. Cord paused, just barely. But Cole caught it. "He rode alone," Cord said. "The old man counted 3 horses," Cole said. "Old men miscount," Cord said. The room held still. Outside, through the single window, Cole could see the main street. A woman had stopped on the boardwalk across the road. Red hair, riding clothes, not a dress. She was looking at the sheriff's office with an expression that was trying very hard to look like nothing at all. Cole kept his face neutral. "Who is she?" Lena said. She had seen the woman, too. Of course she had. Cord looked toward the window. No idea what woman you mean, he said. Cole turned fully toward the window. The woman on the boardwalk had already moved and gone between two buildings like smoke. We are going to need a place to stay tonight, Cole said. Cord raised an eyebrow. You are staying? Dio's widow deserves a proper accounting of what happened to her husband, Cole said. I intend to make sure she gets one. Cord looked at Lena again. The something behind his eyes moved again, the same quick thing Cole had caught the first time. It was not guilt. It was closer to calculation. Hotel is at the north end of the street, Cord said. Tell Nora I sent you. She will find you a room. Cole nodded once. He turned toward the door. Danner, Cord said. Cole stopped. This is a quiet town, Cord said. People who keep it quiet are appreciated. People who do not tend to find it uncomfortable. Cole looked back over his shoulder. I have been uncomfortable before, he said. I am still here. He walked out. Lena was a step behind him. On the boardwalk, Wren was back in his chair. He watched them walk past without speaking. Cole could feel the deputy's eyes on his back like a hand pressing between his shoulder blades. They walked the length of the main street in silence. At the hotel, a narrow two-story building with a painted sign that had faded to almost nothing, Cole held the door. Lena walked in. The woman behind the desk was in her 40s, broad face, steady eyes, hair pulled back tight. She had the look of someone who ran her own operation and had not asked for anyone's opinion about it in years. Nora? Cole said. That is me, she said. Cord sent us, Cole said. We need a room. Nora looked at Lena. No calculation in it, just looking. I have 2 rooms on the second floor, Nora said. Both face the street. We will take them, Cole said. Nora pulled 2 keys from the board behind her. As she set them on the desk, she leaned forward slightly, not much, just enough that her next words would not carry. The red-haired woman, Nora said, very quietly. Her name is Della Cross. She rides with Hollis. You will want to know that. Cole looked at her. Nora looked back at him with the steady eyes of a woman who has been watching things in this town and waiting for someone with a reason to use the information. Greer Hollis, Cole said. The same, Nora said. She straightened up and pushed the keys across the desk. Supper is at 6, she said at normal volume. If you miss it, the kitchen is closed. Cole took both keys. He handed one to Lena. They climbed the stairs without speaking. At the top of the landing, Lena stopped. She turned to face Cole. Della Cross, she said, the woman on the horse who watched. Yes, Cole said. She rides with the man who owns the new wire fence, Lena said. Yes. Lena looked at him. Her face was not a face that cried in public. Whatever she was carrying behind her eyes at that moment, she had it under control. But the effort of keeping it there was visible if a person knew how to look. My sister, she said. Nara. She did not finish the sentence. She did not need to. I know, Cole said. He did not tell her it would be fine. He did not make promises about how it would end. He just looked at her and let her see that he understood what she was saying without the words, which was that her husband was dead and her sister was somewhere in this town or near it, and the same man who built a fence around his new money had sent a deputy to make sure no one came asking questions. Lena turned and went into her room. Cole stood in the hallway for a moment. Then he went into his. He did not unpack. He sat on the edge of the bed and looked at the wall and thought about Greer Hollis and new wire and a woman named Della Cross, who had watched a man die and kept her horse still, and what exactly Harlan County had turned into while he was not watching. Outside the window, the street was quiet. The wrong kind of quiet. He put his hat on the nightstand, checked his rifle, and waited for supper. At 6 o'clock, the dining room downstairs held 5 people, including Cole and Lena. The other 3 were a traveling merchant who smelled like leather and kept his eyes on his plate. A young cowhand with a bandaged hand who ate everything in front of him without looking up. And a man in a clean gray suit who sat at the corner table alone and ordered nothing but coffee. The man in the gray suit looked at Cole once when he sat down. Cole looked back. The man in the suit returned to his coffee. Nora brought food herself. Beef stew, cornbread, a pot of coffee. She moved around the table with the efficiency of someone who does not waste motion. When she set the bread down near Cole, she said quietly, "The man in the corner is Hollis's lawyer. His name is Pete Farrow. He has been in town 3 days." Cole nodded once. A lawyer in town before trouble starts is not a coincidence. It is a preparation. Lena ate. She did not taste it, Cole could tell. But she ate with the discipline of someone who knows the body has to keep going, regardless of what the heart is doing. Halfway through the meal, the door opened. Della Cross walked in. She was 30, maybe 32, with red hair pinned back and trail dust still on her jacket that she had not bothered to brush off. She scanned the room the way people scan rooms when they are looking for something they already know is there. Her eyes landed on Lena. Lena set her fork down. Della walked to their table. She did not wait for an invitation. She pulled out the empty chair across from Cole and sat down. "I want to talk," Della said. "Then talk," Cole said. Della looked at Lena. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then she said, I did not know they were going to shoot him." Lena's hands were flat on the table, perfectly still. "Ren told me it was a questioning," Della said. "I was there because Hollis wanted someone to identify the woman, to confirm she was who he thought she was." "And who did he think she was?" Cole said. Della looked at him. "The sister," she said. "He thought she was Nara's sister. He wanted to know if she had come looking." Cole sat back. "Nara," he said. "You know where she is." Della's jaw tightened. "She is at the Hollis ranch. She has been there since Hollis brought her in 8 months ago. He says she came willingly. She did not." "You work for him," Cole said. "I did," Della said. The past tense sat on the table between them. "A man is dead," Cole said. "Lena's husband. Shot in open ground with his hands empty. And you are sitting here telling us what you saw after the fact." "I rode back as fast as I could after they shot him," Della said. "I have been trying to figure out how to—" "There is no figuring out," Lena said. Her voice was quiet, not soft. Quiet the way a flint is quiet, the stillness before the spark. "My husband is dead. My sister is on a ranch 30 miles from here. That is what there is." Della looked at her. The calculation that had been in Cord's eyes was not in Della's. What was in Della's eyes was messier and harder to look at. "I know where they keep her," Della said. "I know the layout of the ranch, the guards, the schedule. I know when Hollis is away." "And what do you want in return?" Cole said. "Nothing," Della said. "I want out of this county and I will never look back. But I will not leave without doing this first." Cole looked at her for a long time. Lena was looking at her too, with the same eyes she had used to look at Cole that morning in the settlement dust. The eyes that take inventory before they decide. "Tomorrow night," Della said. "Hollis rides to the county seat. He will be gone until the following morning. Ren rides escort. It is the only window. Cole looked at Lena. Lena looked at Della. "If you are lying to us," Lena said, "or if this is what it looks like when Cord sets a trap, I will know it before you do." Della held her gaze. "I am not lying." "Then be ready at midnight tomorrow," Cole said. "Do not tell anyone. Do not change anything you normally do. If you ride out anywhere before then, I will know. And this conversation will end differently than it started." Della stood up. She looked at Lena one more time. Then she walked out. The merchant across the room was staring at his bread. The cowhand had gone still. The lawyer in the gray suit was looking out the window. Cole picked up his coffee. Lena picked up her fork and finished her supper. Outside, Harlan County was dark and quiet, and preparing for something that would not wait. Midnight came to Harlan like it always does in those kinds of towns, with no ceremony and no mercy. The street was empty. A single lantern burned above the sheriff's office. Cole watched it from the window of his room, hat on, rifle in his hands, the same still patience of a man who has waited on worse nights for worse reasons. Lena knocked on his door at 5 minutes before. She had changed into darker clothes. Her hair was tied back. She carried nothing but a knife at her belt and a look on her face that said she had made her peace with whatever came next. They went down the back stairs. Della was waiting in the alley behind the hotel with 3 horses already saddled. She had done this without noise, without lamp, by feel and muscle memory. Cole added that to his accounting of her. They rode out of Harlan along the dry wash that ran behind the livery, away from the main road, through scrub that pulled at their stirrups in the dark. Della rode in front. Cole rode behind her. Lena rode beside Cole and slightly ahead, because she had decided that was where she was going to ride, and nobody had the standing to argue otherwise. 2 hours of riding, mostly silent. The Hollis Ranch appeared out of the dark as a cluster of lights and shapes. Main house, 2 bunkhouses, a large barn, a separate structure set slightly apart from the rest that Della had described as the old smokehouse. That was where Nara was. 2 guards, Della said quietly, bringing her horse to a stop behind a ridge. One walks the perimeter of the main house. One sits at the smokehouse door. They rotate at 2 in the morning. Cole looked at the layout. The smokehouse was 50 yards from the main house. Good ground between them, clear, flat, no cover. The guard at the door was visible as a dark shape against the lamplight from the main house windows. "What is in the main house right now?" Cole said. 4 ranch hands, Della said. Hollis's foreman, man named Roy Bates. He had 2 workers who sleep in the far bunkhouse and will not stir unless they hear shooting. And 1 man Hollis left in charge, name of Cutter. He stays in the main house. "Cutter," Cole said. "He is the one who pulled the trigger on Dio," Della said. Lena's horse moved 1 step forward. Cole put his hand on the reins, not grabbing, just touching. Lena stopped. "We go for Nara first," Cole said to her. She looked at him. "Nara first," he said again. Lena gave a single nod. Cole handed his rifle to Lena. He pulled his handgun and checked it. "Della," he said, "the guard at the smokehouse door. Can you get his attention away from the door for 60 seconds without raising an alarm?" "Yes," Della said. "Then do it at my signal." They waited. The perimeter guard completed his round and disappeared around the back of the main house. Then Cole counted seconds in his head. At 45, he said low, "Now." Della rode out from behind the ridge at a casual walk, calling ahead to the guard at the smokehouse with the easy tone of someone who belonged there and had a message to deliver. Cole went left, low and fast, using the shadow line along the fence. 50 yards felt like a mile. His boots found the ground quietly on the dry grass. The guard's back was to him, turned toward Della on her horse. 30 yards, 20. Cole came up behind the guard, wrapped an arm around him, and put him down without sound. The man slumped. Cole caught him and eased him onto the ground. He lifted the bar on the smokehouse door and pulled it open. The interior was dark. A shape in the corner moved. "Nara," Lena said, from directly behind Cole. She had come up without him hearing her, when the shape in the corner made a sound. Lena went past Cole into the dark and dropped to her knees. The two of them were a shape together that Cole could not see clearly and did not need to. He stood in the doorway and watched the main house. Nothing moved. A window glowed. The perimeter guard would be back around in another 40 seconds. "We have to move," Cole said. Lena stood. She had her arm around the other woman. Nara was upright, thin, with the careful movements of someone whose body has had time to heal but not fully. She looked at Cole without fear. Just looking. They went back the way Cole had come, low along the fence line. Della had already turned her horse and was riding back toward the ridge. At the horses, Nara looked at Della. Della looked back at her. Something passed between them, on some accounting that Cole had no access to and no right to. Then they were all mounted and moving. They rode hard for the first mile. Then Cole pulled back to a fast trot, listening. No sound of pursuit, no lanterns moving at the ranch behind them. In another mile, Cole looked back. The Hollis Ranch lights were small and still in the dark. Nothing chasing, not yet. But Cutter was still in that main house. And Cutter had put a bullet in Dio in open ground, with no more thought than a man swatting a fly. And Cole had not forgotten that. And Lena had not forgotten it either, though she was riding now with her sister's hand in hers and her eyes straight ahead. Some accounting does not get settled in a single night. Sometimes it rides behind you in the dark, patient, waiting for the right moment to catch up. Dawn was an hour away, and Cole set the pace, and they rode toward it. 3 miles out from Harlan, on the high flat ground where the new fence wire glinted dull in the first gray of morning, Cole brought his horse to a stop. The others stopped with him. Below, the town was waking. A light came on in the livery. Smoke from Nora's kitchen. Della pulled up beside him. "They will find out by morning," she said. "Yes," Cole said. "Cord will come," she said. "Cord will try," Cole said. He looked at Lena. Lena was looking at her sister, checking her face, her hands, her arms, the silent inventory of someone taking stock of damage. Nara said something to Lena in Apache. Lena answered. Cole did not know the words. He understood the tone. "There is a town called Mira Wells, 40 miles west," Nora had told Cole the night before. And when she had slipped a folded paper under his door with a rough map on it and 2 words at the bottom that read, "Go west." There is a woman there named Clara Bates, no relation to the foreman. She runs a dry goods store, and she hates Greer Hollis with a passion she does not bother to hide. She will help. Cole pulled the folded paper from his coat pocket and looked at it in the early light. 40 miles west. "Della," he said, "where will you go?" "North," she said. "I have kin in Wyoming." "Ride before the sun is full up," Cole said. "Do not go through Harlan." "I know a way around," she said. She looked at Lena one more time. "I am sorry," Della said. "It is not enough." "I know it is not enough." Lena looked at her. "No," she said. "It is not." She did not say it cruelly. She said it the way you say a true thing, as without decoration, because that is the only way a true thing should be said. Della nodded. She turned her horse and rode north without looking back. Cole watched her go for a moment. Then he looked at Lena and Nara. "We ride west," he said. Lena looked at him. The morning light was coming up behind him, and in it her face was tired and open in a way it had not been since he first saw her kneeling in the settlement dust. "And after Mira Wells?" she said. Cole thought about Cutter in the main house, about Cord's badge and comfortable chair, about Greer Hollis riding back from the county seat to find his smokehouse empty and a guard laid out in the grass, about Dio's open hands. "After Mira Wells," Cole said, "we come back." He did not say it as a threat. He said it as a fact. Was the way a man states a thing that has already been decided and is simply waiting on the calendar. Lena looked at him for a moment. Then she looked at Nara. Nara said something in Apache. Lena almost smiled. It was small and worn, but it was there. "What did she say?" Cole asked. "She said you ride like a man who has lost something and is still looking," Lena said. Cole put his hat forward and turned his horse west. "She is not wrong," he said. They rode into the morning, the three of them. With the wire fence falling behind and the flat land opening ahead, and somewhere at their backs, Harlan County counting its losses and sharpening its reply. The story was not over. It was just getting its footing.